All right.
Hey, it's me. Um, we're doing a Friday YouTube video, and here today I've got artist, a painter, and earth sculptor known as Dave Rupe. And wow, it was a big vulture
Crow.
that just flew up above us, or a crow or something. It was
Yeah,
big,
crow.
making really
Okay.
cool noises. Anyway, we're sitting out in the yard talking about art. El Gato's here. El Gato sitting over there. Um, and some of the stuff we've been talking about lately includes just society at large and the idea that everything's with the screen. Like, even I'm talking to you guys right now, it's on a screen, and there's something that's sacred about the screen. Like, the screen knows more than you do, and the screen tells you what to do and stuff like that. So people have gotten away from actually making things that are not screen related, and even to the point where they've gotten away from having their own thoughts or having their own reactions to anything. So I think this is subjects like this are what Dave approaches in his paintings, and he just recently had put a show up at New River Community College. So tell us about the show. What's it about? What kind of stuff does it have in it?
Well, the show's called Manufactured Stardust, and that's what we all are is manufactured stardust. And the whole well, let's go back to since probably 12. I've been asking these questions: where do we come from? What's happening? What's this ball of light in the sky? What's this? You know, what are these things? What is going on? And from what I can determine, we're in this elaborate control system, and we are evolving, or you should say we're manipulating. We're being manipulated, or you can just say it's a transformation happening from the organic to the inorganic, whatever you want to call it. That's what the whole thing's about. That's what all my art's about. It's all about the evolution of the human being, pretty much.
Well, what do you say from organic to inorganic? Do you mean that humans are evolving to be something that's not alive anymore, something that's an inorganic substance?
Yeah, not alive. I don't know, but I think the probably the best image for the end game, the future, would be like the board from Star Trek, where we're all connected, but we're also all kind of cyborg slaves that we do not have our own thoughts. I think that's the goal of the controllers. And we say, I get, who are the controllers? What's that all
Well,
about?
that's what I was going to ask. Who,
Well,
what
the controllers are the people that control the numbers. I mean, what is money? Money is numbers. Money is pieces of paper. Money is shiny rocks. And there are those people. Now, I can't name them. I can speculate. I can throw few names out there. But I think if you can find the names, then that's not it. But this whole international global banking system we have, they make numbers out of thin air, and they control them, and we're all out collecting them. That's what they've hijacked. Our purpose is to collect numbers, collect pieces of paper, and collect shiny rocks. And we spend our whole lives, we trade our lives to do this. And these are who the controllers are.
are you saying that Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump aren't in control? That they're not the ones that are pulling the strings behind everything?
Well, certainly I can't prove any of this, and even if I could prove it, I mean, most people are not going to buy into this. Most people are going to dismiss this, because if they did accept it and they were open to it, I think it could fracture their psyche. I think it could do serious damage to them. Um, no, no, no. I mean, it's mainstream that we do not control our numbers. I mean, our government has to borrow money from the Federal Reserve, which is a private. It's a private system. It's a private corporation. Now, who controls the Federal Reserve? Well, that's linked to companies like the World Bank, the BIS, the IMF, all these things. And this is public stuff. You can just look this stuff up. This is not conspiracy theory. And if you look into who controls that, well, that's a rabbit hole that. But you can definitely say America does not control its own money.
Well, I think that's pretty safe to say. How do you communicate those type of ideas in artwork? Like, give us an example of how that, like, if you were doing a piece of artwork about a subject like that, what's your process? How do you choose which symbols represent which things, and how
Oh
you're going to make that look?
yeah, the art just kind of creates itself. It just kind of comes through, like from the books I read to the podcasts, the interviews. I'm constantly researching. I'm a truth seeker. I want to know the truth, and how I show others what I'm finding is through my art. Um, you asked me another question. How
Well, how can you get other people to understand it? Like, aren't there some people that will look at the piece of artwork and interpret it one way, and somebody
Sure,
else
sure,
some other
yeah.
way?
It's all about the viewer, and I have to do as artists, and we're all artists. We're all spiritual creators. We have to just do our thing. We just have. That's why we're here. That's what we're here on the planet for. We're here to create, and we just have to do our thing. And if people are open to these types of ideas, they're gonna get together. If they're not, then they're not. They're not. They have other priorities, and I think eventually, it's all going to work out, and we're all going to figure it out. But we're just all at a different. It's all at our own pace.
When you when people would refer to your work as being crazy, or refer to you as like a conspiracy nut or whatever, that,
Yeah,
and
tinfoil hat guy.
we've
Yeah,
heard that from some people in the past.
right.
Um,
But,
what would you say to them? Like,
well,
would you try to change their mind, or just
no,
let them
no,
take
no.
whatever?
You're not going to change their minds. I mean, they have to be open to it, and all I do is just share information. And a lot of times you're going to dismiss it because you've been taught from the very start that George Washington never told a lie, and America's the good guys, and if you just work hard, and the American dream can be yours, and your imagination, your dream, in in a way, has been hijacked because your purpose here on the planet is not to collect numbers and pieces of paper and shiny rocks. I mean, that is not what you're here to do, and that is an empty system that is totally thrown at you everywhere because the controllers do not want you creating. They do not want that because that is an immense power. If you read the book 1984, they banned the diary. Why did they ban the diary? Because they know one person's thoughts are so powerful that our thoughts really do create a reality within limits because we are in human form. But they don't want you to have that power, and they spend a lot of effort teaching you that you are insignificant.
Well, I think I have seen some examples of, you mentioned thoughts being hijacked, and to me, an example of that is kind of like, sometimes I'll see these headlines, or I'll see on the internet, like there's some celebrity that's going through a divorce, or so and so went on a date with so and stuff like
Sure,
this, like
sure.
uh, Johnny McJohnny went on a date with Vivacia, whoever, and I don't know who these people are. Like, I've never heard of them in my life, but it that's a system of kind of telling people who's interesting and telling people who's attractive. Like, if I set it out there, I can make a character. If I am a person in the media, I can say, okay, for example, like Britney Spears or Justin Timberlake, back however many decades ago that was. It's still going on, I guess, but you can have these people, even if nobody's ever heard of them, you can say, look how interesting and attractive this person is, and flood the media with it, and before you know it, everybody else is saying, oh, did you see Johnny,
Sure, sure.
Johnny
They're told what to like.
he's
Yeah.
really attractive, and it's programming, it's just absolutely, I'm going to tell you what you like, and then you pay me money to get more of it.
Well, it goes back to the Pink Floyd song "Welcome to the Machine." It's like, we told you what to dream, we told you what to think, and these people like Rihanna, Britney Spears, all these people that all these young people worship. These are not the people you want to be. We just feel sorry for these people. I mean, every now and then you'll see some cracks in the facade where like Britney Spears a few years ago. I mean, we say Britney because this is more our generation
Sure,
for that.
sure.
But she freaked out and was like shaving her head and
Oh
like
yeah.
saying, "Hey, I don't want them plugging things into my head anymore." And everything was dismissed that this girl's just lost her mind. But why has she lost her mind? I mean, these kids were manipulated from the start. I mean, they were in the Disney, and if you trace the Disney history, that gets into a whole ball of dark juju there.
Well, now hold on a minute. Now Disney's just about like Captain Crabs and like desert princesses and stuff like that. You know.
Right. No, well, if you study the Disney movies, they're all about destruction of the family. They're all talking about tearing down the family. They're all programming you with this concept of we're gonna meet our Prince Charming and everything's gonna be happy ever after, and it's programming the illusion. It's completely setting you up, setting children up for total disappointment in their life, total self hatred, really.
Well, I knew I never liked the Disney stuff. You know.
Well, and you wonder, like, okay, why are they doing this? Why are they doing it? It's because they want control. I mean, you could get a little further out there, but I won't really go there today. But at the very least, they want control of it all, because by taking your thoughts.
Oh yeah, sorry.
No, that's all right. That's all right. Yeah, the little project might get blown away here. But by taking your thoughts, that secures their power. And by addicting us all to this number system, this numbers prison, and that's where we really got to get off of it. We have to learn to live on the least amount of money possible, because we have to learn what's really important. To go the other direction if we really want to try to make the world a better place.
And that's where a lot of questions lead. In class before, I've asked people, well, why are you in college? And they say, well, to get a job. And I say, well, can't you get a job without college? Yeah, but not a good one. Well, why do you want a good job? Well, because I want a nice house and a nice car. And I say, why do you want a nice house and a nice car? And then at some point it just stalls out, and people will stop and think, I don't know.
Because
why I do.
That's what they've been taught.
And yeah, exactly. It's been programmed. It's another example of people telling you what you want and then allowing you to buy it from them. How convenient,
Right. Yeah, because when you get a big house, well, you just got a lot of things you have to mess with. It's a big house to clean. It's a big house to maintain. And you get that new car, well, in 100,000 miles, that new car's, you need another new car. And that's the whole process, to keep you running on the hamster wheel when really you don't need that stuff and you don't want that stuff, really. I mean, you want your health, you want some skills, you want quality relationships. I mean, that's what you want. And sure, you want a peaceful place that you can have a roof and sleep and all that stuff, sure, but the goal should be to not have a job.
Well, that's un-American.
Well, the whole concept of a job, I mean, what are you doing? You're trading your life for numbers. I mean, you got one life, and you only have, I mean, the average age is 84, and in America, that to live a quality of life up to that age is tough. So you really have a short time to create what you need to create, and then we pass on to whatever's next. But in this physical world, you have a short time.
Well, that's a good point. I experienced some of that recently myself. For I guess the past year, I've worked a night shift job on weekends, and so I worked day shift Monday through Friday, and then on the weekends worked night shift. And I worked almost 40 days straight when the semester started. I got up to about 39, I think, and I really believe I was losing my mind. I was becoming paranoid. It was my it affected my relationship. It affected my health. I lost 20 pounds. I
Sure.
couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep, and it was all just because.
You're
Uh,
drained. Your energy's gone.
yeah, it was just because I felt like I had to do that because I had to get more numbers coming into the bank every month,
Right.
and since I've quit that, which was about 3 weeks ago, I've had the best couple of weeks of my life after I recovered from
Yeah.
that, and
Had some
it's
time to recharge.
had some time to actually think and be myself, and
Yep.
and spend time in that house I was paying for, and spend time driving that car I was paying
Right.
for,
Right.
and not just commuting back and forth to works and different jobs. So
Right. We spend a lot of time buying things that we don't have time to use.
that's right, and you do become a your possessions own you. That's very true. That's very true. So when's the next show? What's coming up in the art world?
Well, this show runs till December 7th, and my goal now in the studio. I have a pretty nice studio, so I'm working on right now. I've got seven. I'm working on what my goal is to be able to lay 10 down, and I work on 10 at a time, and so I can do. I need to crank out. My goal is, I'd like to create at least 1,000 paintings before I check out. Before,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Well, how many do you think you've made so far?
all just in this batch. Mostly throughout my life, I've given them all away or I've sold a few, but now I've just started to collect them, and I do have a price tag on them. I mean, I do have a higher price tag than I've ever had, and I hate the monetary system. I so hate it, but the right now where we're at, it's the only way I can protect the work. It's the only way. If someone comes up to me and say, "Hey, here's $1,000 for that work," they're gonna protect that work and they're gonna value it, and
Well,
and
that's true.
that's really what it's about right now. It's about me creating as much as I can create and protecting the work. So, um, I don't know. I'm on the hunt. I'm begging for begging for places to show right now. So I've got this show until December 7th, and then it's back out there, begging for a spot to show.
What for you? What would be the end game? What would be the would there be a moment ever when you said that if all that art was fulfilling some purpose that it came to fruition, the self actualization as an artist? What would that be, or has that already happened, or is that going to happen someday?
Yeah, I think that happens every time you paint a piece. You get to that point. For me, it's usually, I don't know. It happens at different levels. Sometimes it's right when I start drawing, and sometimes it happens when I finish it. Sometimes it happens when I frame it. It just at different levels. You just feel uh, that balance with the universe, that balance with the cosmos, where you just feel like this is what I'm here to do. This is why I chose to come here, and I think all we are spirits in a meat bone suit. I mean, that's uh, you could say that's scientifically proven, or you could say that's a little far out, but that's what I believe we are, and it, that's why we're here to create. So you could say it happens every time. One one, one game at a time. That's all that can ever be here. The present is all that ever exists.
Well, we spent so much time talking about the past, and in art appreciation class, we've been talking about art history. We're in that section of it, and one of my favorite topics is ancient art, and I love ancient civilizations, and I love looking at things that people have left behind. Do you think that these ancient artists, the people that made the temples and the people that made the pyramids and the people, do you think that they knew something that we don't know today, or do you think that they were just people following orders, doing their job like everybody else?
Sure, I think the whole idea of Atlantis and the pyramids being built by people with definitely higher technical knowledge than we have, and possibly not human. Yeah, I think all that's possible. Uh, art history. Art history is the only history we have. That's it. All everything else could be a lie. all the words, all the books. I mean, that's all from one person's opinion, and you could argue the art is from a person's opinion too. But there's so much more truth in the art than there is in the books.
What would be an example of that? Uh, is there a particular piece of artwork that you think about when you say that?
Well, I mean, we just here in America, we could you analyze the connections with the group the Freemasons, uh, with the founding of America, and there's paintings with Washington in his Freemason garb and all that stuff, but you're never taught that in school. Like you wouldn't even know that, and if you visit D.C., there's Freemason symbolism everywhere, and you could make a good case that all that goes back to Egyptians, all that goes back to Samaria. I mean, that all that stuff's connected. But you wouldn't know that. I didn't. I'm 44. I didn't know that until recently. I started studying into that stuff. I was never taught that.
Well, it is interesting how sometimes things seem to be hidden in plain sight.
Right.
And and we talk some about symbols and logos and trademarks in class too. The idea that you're being told things all the time, whether you realize it or not, and whether you can read it or not, you are getting information. And the people that like to go forth and try to decipher that have got some interesting things to talk about.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, the symbols are everywhere. If we just drive down the street, look at all the gas companies. All their symbols are the sun, the pyramid. There's an inverted pentagram on the side of Hardee's. I mean, all that stuff is right there in front
Well,
of
now
us.
Hardee's is just about making biscuits, right?
Well, I'm
Give me
sure
a-
the
like a
employees
chicken
that
biscuit.
yeah, it's about making biscuits, sure, but there's an inverted pentagram on the side of.
It doesn't matter.
I mean, it's not there by
Yeah.
accident, and the inverted pentagram is associated with all kinds of dark juju. So
It's just a pure coincidence.
sure. I mean, people's thoughts create their reality. So if you want to believe that I'm not picking on Hardee's. I mean, I like junk food too, but if you just want to believe that's by coincidence, you go ahead. That's what you can believe.
Yeah, you do have that option. You have that option.
I mean, I did for 4 decades. I didn't even think about it, and then all of a sudden I just rode by. I'm like, holy shit! There is a pentagram on this upside down, inverted pentagram. And the whole star there is about man. That supposedly that's where that comes from, and it's really interesting.
Well, I guess we can just as we go forward in time, we can just try to watch out for controllers. Um,
Well, and you can always follow the money. I mean, and just the word money. I trace that word from, and they do this with all our words. Like when we say good morning. Well, what does morning mean? That means good sadness. That's automatically sending out that lower vibrational word. And there's a guy, Michael Tellinger, that talks about how sound is really the universal energy, and if we can figure out how to harness sound, that's free energy for us all.
well, there's been so much emphasis on light, so all through the 19th and 20th centuries,
Right.
with Einstein and his studies, and there's so much focus on light as being kind of the savior of humanity, and we've been such a visual culture.
Right.
Our lives have been so much centered around vision that, I guess I've never thought about sound that way. Never looked at it.
Well, and I think Tesla talks a lot about that everything is energy, everything is light, sound, all that stuff. And he talked about having free energy for everyone, that everyone can have it. And of course, he died alone in a hotel, and all his research was stolen. So
Yeah,
I think he was
surprise.
probably onto something.
Well, it could be. It could be.
Yeah. Yeah.
How can a person avoid getting sucked into this whole system, and how can they avoid because, as you know, hey, it's rough out there sometimes. You know, if I'm not working 7 days a week,
Right,
you
right.
know,
It's
and I
hard to
get
put
if
you.
I get a big medical bill or something,
Yeah.
that
Well,
could be a big problem. How can somebody
well,
avoid
you know,
doing something?
in America, the healthcare system. Oh man, it's just so it's so corrupt. It's so bad, and I don't have any good solutions for that because now you're required to pay for something. I mean,
Yeah,
you have to.
if you don't
Yeah,
pay the insurance companies,
yeah.
the government will fine you. They'll
Yeah,
charge you money.
so now you're forced
Yeah.
to pay, but the only insurance that's really valuable is ER care. I mean, that's they're snake doctors. I mean, they're really good at putting you back together and keeping you alive and suffering. But their medications are, unless it's like antibiotics or insulin, I mean, they can throw steroids at you, but that's a short term fix. Uh, the only things you have your energy, your health, and uh, really that sort of thing. I mean, fruits, vegetables, water. I mean, that's what you need to keep your health going. Uh, but you have your health, your skills. You can learn so much off YouTube. I mean, uh, I see the future of education going to just YouTube for free. We don't need this. We don't need this. It's just robbery. Is all it is.
Hey, you're going to put me out of work. All right.
Well, they're putting you out of work anyway.
Yeah, they're putting me out of work
I mean,
anyway.
you could probably make more
Yeah.
private tutoring than you could with the school system. So no, yeah, this is all the future. This system of forcing us, and that's why I think it's getting worse because the controllers, they know this. They know people are waking up to the fact that you are your own business. No longer are you gonna to go to work for someone else. You are working for yourself, and you want to live on the least amount of numbers possible. I mean, you don't. This whole illusion of buying all these material goods and celebrating all this orgy of materialism is empty. It's wrong. It's the wrong way.
Well, I think we brought up some interesting topics today, and if you guys want to learn more about it, how can they see what you're
Oh
doing?
man, you go to daverupeart.com. That's my webpage. There's a YouTube channel called Inversion Warriors that I have. And that we talk about. I post some videos and I post some pretty far out stuff on there. Also, the Facebook is Inversion Warriors, and that's usually where things go up first. Other than that, yeah, like I said, those three, it's all on there. It's all, I'm easy to find.
Well, that sounds good, and I'll include a link to this video in a PowerPoint today, and I'll post a link to your website and your YouTube channel, and we'll see if people want to learn more about it. And hey, it's Halloween weekend, and as you guys know, Halloween in Radford is a lot of fun. Be careful out there, man.
Yeah, like the clowns. Don't get
Watch out for clowns,
clowns.
And don't just attack all clowns on sight because some of them are pretty cool. Also, watch it with the drinking. You don't have to drink all the time, okay? And you might actually have a better time and have better memories if you just use a little bit of what's the word I'm looking for?
Moderation's always good. Good
Moderation. Moderation's a great
idea.
idea.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. I guess one last thought. It's that you are a spiritual creator. That's what you're here to do. Now, what are you here to create? I mean, that's up to you. You have to determine that. But and that's all you have to do really is determine what you want to create and create it. And don't let anyone stop you from creating it because the confidence is a huge part. You have to get over that because everybody's going to try to tear it down. Everybody's going to tell you you're stupid. But don't listen to that because you are a spiritual creator and there's so much access to information out there. It's all over the place. You just kind of have to wade through a lot of the BS. But then that's what we have to do is if we remember who we are, the world can be such a better place.
And it is a lot of fun. And there you have it. You guys have a great weekend. Be safe and read about the Renaissance and Baroque period in Europe. That sounds exciting, doesn't it? Well, maybe it won't be too bad. There's some neat stuff to talk about, and I'll see y'all on Monday.